Hello, good morning. Welcome to Gaming Insight Daily for Tuesday, March 11th? 11th, yes, 2025. I'm Steve Saylor. This is your daily show of gaming news, accessibility news, or updates about my life. I've got iced coffee in my last mug today. A little bit of housekeeping. If you missed yesterday, I did not have a specific episode of Gaming Insight Daily because I had a review for a game that just went up called Review for Wonderstop. If you haven't heard about it, it's about a cozy game about working in a tea shop. I don't really want to spoil it any more than just that, but make sure to go check out the review of it because I was really proud of how it turned out, and also it taught me a lot more about life than I thought when I was reviewing this. So got a bit of accessibility in there. Also got a little bit of kind of like what how I personally felt impacted on it. So go check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. Just give me the go watch that. Also a little bit of housekeeping. Basically, my schedule for the week for Twitch, for Twitch streaming. Today, I'll be actually doing a co-working stream. I've got quite a bit of work I need to kind of get done. Just more, not necessarily like basically a lot of like content creation stuff, like admins kind of stuff. So I'm going to be working, doing that on stream today. But then tomorrow and potentially Thursday, I will be playing Silent Hill 2. We'll be jumping back into that, and then Friday, if you've been watching this channel for a bit, you've noticed I've done quite a few episodes about WWE 2K25. So this Friday it releases. I will be playing it, and I'll be playing it live on Twitch. I don't know how long I'm going to go for. I'm going to basically it's going to be at 10:30 a.m. I'm going to basically just Eastern, and I'm just going to play as much as I can or much as I feel like. And just kind of enjoy the release of WWE 2K25. So that'll be the schedule for this week. And I think that's pretty much it as far as any other stuff that's happening with me currently. Yeah, I think that's it. Cool. All right. So let us jump into the news today. Some of it's a bit older, like, with a little bit kind of pushing the 24 hours sort of thing, but there are definitely some stuff I have not talked about as of yet on the show. First up, we've got the sort of somewhat breaking news that, like, when I saw it happen yesterday, but it kind of caused some confusion within the video game sort of space. This is coming from GameSpot, written by Evan Campbell. Xbox branded handheld planned for later this year. It's apparently codenamed Keenan, which is nowhere near as cool as Project Scorpio. I mean, to each their own, but there could be an official Xbox branded handheld out by the end of this year. A new report states that Microsoft is partnering with a PC gaming company like Asus or Lenovo on the device with a targeted launch in 2025. According to Windows Central, the handheld is codenamed Keenan and will be similar in nature to the upcoming Lenovo Legion Go S, which will be the first device outside the Steam Deck family to run on Valve's Steam OS. So the Xbox branded handheld will likely run on Windows, featuring the Microsoft Store and PC Game Pass. The report also states that the system will likely sport an Xbox guide button and aesthetics that fit the Xbox ethos. Interestingly enough, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer mentioned an Xbox handheld is a few years out in November. Spencer, for his part, has teased making an Xbox handheld for a while now, too. This long-term plan lines up with the report of the next Xbox launching in 2027. Basically, Microsoft plans to kick off the next generation with an Xbox Series X successor, accompanied by an internally developed handheld system. However, unsurprisingly, it's noted that this schedule could shift as Microsoft works on the future of the Xbox brand. For instance, Windows Central points to the Xbox licensed handheld scheduled for this year to serve as sort of a test drive for Microsoft. There is also no specific details on the partnering company, which could also be Razer or MSI. GameSpot has contacted Microsoft seeking comment on this report, and they have not reported back. So that's my sort of thing at the end there. All right, so news breaking of Xbox branded handheld. A lot of people sort of thought that this was officially an Xbox handheld. It is half of that. This is not an official Xbox created hardware and software. This is basically Xbox branded with software potentially only. Xbox has been kind of teasing something of like this for a while. They've kind of been vague. They've kind of hinted at like an actual Xbox handheld itself, and also potential of like partnering up with other like creating like an Xbox OS. Essentially, that's kind of been the rumor for a while. So it seems as if we're getting that latter first. Whether it's going to be a full-blown Xbox OS on a partner system, we don't know yet. I hope that's the case. Here's the thing that I hope for when it like for an Xbox handheld, even if it is a partner one. If the partner one is great and it's similar to like the performance of an ROG Ally X or even Lenovo Legion Go, or even potentially even better than a Steam Deck, I think it has a pretty good chance if it has a pretty decent ecosystem or software that it basically can run games, but then also run the system relatively well. The problem I've been finding with a few of the handhelds is that the partner companies the companies that are making these, like Asus or Lenovo or MS or even MSI, they've been having to be able to create their own software in order to be able to kind of make the handheld like a console-like system, and that allows them to be able to they try to be able to using software to adjust like the internals of the system itself. And because a lot of them have to use Windows 11 again is not built for mobile just yet. It's kind of clunky in that way. That's why I have as much as I love my ROG Ally, just the regular ROG Ally, the Windows 11 experience is probably the worst part of it. Playing games on it is great. It's awesome. When it works, it works. Battery life could obviously be improved, but that's kind of the only main complaint I have whenever I'm playing games on it, because I can just sort of set it at a specific graphic settings, and I'm pretty much good. Like, yeah, it's not exactly that I'm winning any contest as far as the highest looking best looking graphics out of the handhelds, but it's still playable. The problem is Windows, and that's kind of been my sort of thing throughout the whole entire thing. So if Xbox can create its own OS, or at least create a version of Windows that is a little bit more mobile friendly, then I think it has a pretty good chance of succeeding. And I think that this is also a good test market for Xbox, because you got to remember, PlayStation's already announced that they're making a handheld, and it's a couple years away. It was already predicted that it was going to be like 2027, 2028 was when it was going to come out. At the time, I remember thinking that, and I think I remember even saying on the show that that strategy could potentially not be a great one, because it could, like, who knows what the handheld gaming market is going to be like at that time. They're really putting a lot of risk in hopes that the handheld gaming market, especially the handheld PC gaming market, I should say, not necessarily related to the Switch too, but the handheld PC gaming market would be still thriving at that point when PlayStation's ready to release their own handheld. And it seems as if Xbox is doing the same thing, but they're doing it in a little differently than what PlayStation is sort of putting out there. PlayStation, basically, they're still in the regular console cycle. They're still in line with whatever timeline that they're going to put out for the PS6. I think that's probably been delayed a little bit because of the pandemic, and obviously hardware being as slow as it was for the PS5. So even though the PS6 could potentially be another 2-3 years out, and it may seem like the longest sort of generation cycle between systems, you got to remember the pandemic kind of like really like messed up with a lot of that. So you have to kind of take that into account with it. But PlayStation's still on that cycle train, that console cycle train. Them adding a handheld unit is not necessarily replacing the PlayStation cycle. It's just adding to it, similar to when they released the Vita, the PSP, and also even I would even say even right now with the PlayStation Portal. It's just in addition to. You still need a PlayStation 5 in order to be able to run the PlayStation Portal right now, with the new dedicated hand, like they are also experimenting with a few things. They can also stream PlayStation Plus games, or I think PlayStation Plus Classic. I can't remember which version it is, but they can stream if you have a PlayStation Portal, you can stream. If you have PlayStation Plus, specifically to their specific tier, I can't remember which one, but you can be able to stream it to your PlayStation Portal without having to connect to your PS5. So that's PlayStation cycle. Nintendo, of course, we got Nintendo Switch coming out, or Switch 2 coming out. That's going to basically drive the market for the next couple years for sure. Whether that's going to be able to spill over into the PC handheld market, who knows? But Xbox, again, is doing something different. They're experimenting with releasing a partnered handheld with an Xbox-like experience, or close to an Xbox-like experience, or at least have an official branded one that they're basically supporting with software, and also I guess would help. They're basically going to be paying for a little bit, or kind of giving a little bit of money to the partners so they can be able to sell it, and then also like kind of own a piece of it. So they're experimenting with it. They're seeing what it would be like, how the market would react. I'm talking about not necessarily not the sort of shareholders market, but I'm talking about the gaming audience, how the gaming audience will react to a somewhat a version of an Xbox handheld with this kind of so they're putting their foot into the game, they're putting their foot into the pool right away, but they're not willing to dive in just yet. But I also think that it's an interesting strategy, because by doing so, they also are setting themselves up for the 2027 new console refresh. So if Xbox is planning on doing a new Xbox Series whatever, or the next version of Xbox in 2027, and releasing a handheld around the same time, and hopefully actually basically release at the same time, that's a very interesting strategy. That basically means that they're really creating an ecosystem of Xbox devices that will be definitely different than the previous generations. Like it used to be, again, just a straight box, that was it. Maybe like another variation of a box like they did with the Series S. But by them creating what I would imagine would be sort of the top of the line, best sort of console experience for Xbox, that we're gonna like you have the Series X, but just basically just the new version of it with the new processors, new GPUs, that kind of thing. And then also release a handheld at the same time that potentially could work together with the new generation of Xbox. I think there's something there. There is something to that strategy that I think actually might be better than PlayStation, because again, PlayStation's the handheld is not affecting their console cycle. They're in that console cycle. They're not getting off that train anytime soon. It's doing extremely well for them. They obviously won that sort of cycle for the past two of them now, with the PS4 and the PS5. So they're not ready to give up that. But whereas Xbox can be a little bit more flexible because of how much they change their sort of market, or their sort of strategy, by releasing a partnered handheld now, basically gives them enough leeway that there could potentially be another partnered handheld between now and whenever the next generation of console is going to be, the next gen console is going to be, which could include a proper Xbox designed and created handheld. So I think that is the better strategy, to be honest, because PlayStation is, again, they're putting a big risk by saying that it's going to be a couple years out for the proper handheld, and hoping that the PC market's gonna, handheld gaming's gonna be, handheld market's gonna be there for them when they do release. I think it's still gonna sell well when they get it, but whether or not people are gonna be like, we don't like handhelds kind of suck now, we don't know what that's gonna be like with the next couple of years. Whereas Xbox is kind of like testing the waters a little bit to see what, like, also, I think when they're putting this out there with a partnered operating system or a partnered handheld, they are also they'll also be doing research for their own handheld, so they know what works, what doesn't, what the fans react with, and what they don't, so they can be able to properly, like, it's almost like user testing or early release testing of an Xbox handheld before they actually make one, which is a good strategy, it just within tech in and of itself. So I think this strategy for handhelds, if that is true, if this whole report is true, that I think is probably the best case scenario for Xbox at this point, considering their stance on right now on hardware. It's not as super important to them as services is with Game Pass and with games being on everywhere, or that everything is an Xbox kind of nowadays. I think that this fits well into that strategy that I think could work in their favor. So I'm excited. I'm going to try to be able to get my hands on one of them. Whatever that partner handheld's going to be, I want one. I've been wanting a new handheld for a minute now, because the ones I have they're fine, but they're definitely showing their age a little bit, even though it's only been a couple years. It's so weird to say that right now. Anyway, I can't wait to see what Xbox is going to officially announce, and hopefully we might get something by the summer showcase. Because if it is a partner handheld is going to be coming out this year, I'd be willing to bet that probably having it in the showcase would be, or announcing in the showcase would be a good call. All right, next story. We've got this one. I'm not too sure about. Again, kind of jumping on the PlayStation side. So we got an Xbox story. We got a PlayStation story. This is coming from Wesley Yinpool at IGN. Leaked internal Sony video uses Horizon's Aloy to show AI-powered PlayStation character prototype. Now, I will say up front that basically there was a video of this that was posted online, but it has been taken down. So I'm basically not going to show that video here. I have seen this video. And I have some thoughts on it. So we'll just read the report here. A leaked internal video has revealed Sony is experimenting with AI-powered PlayStation characters. The Verge reported on the emergence of an internal video allegedly created by PlayStation Studios' Advanced Technology Group that uses Aloy from the Horizon games to demonstrate AI-powered game characters. The video was subsequently pulled from YouTube following a copyright claim from Musso, an internet enforcement company. The Verge said lists Sony's Interactive Entertainment as a client. This suggests the video is legitimate. IGN has asked Sony for comment. In the video, as reported by The Verge, Sony Interactive Entertainment Director of Software Engineering, Sharwin, I'm not going to pronounce that, so we'll just say Sharwin, has a conversation with an AI-powered Aloy via voice prompts and AI-generated speech and facial animations. The speech recognition is via OpenAI's Whisper for speech to text. The conversational AI via GPT-4 and Llama 3 for dialogue and decision making. The speech synthesis via Sony's Emotional Voice Synthesis (EVS) system, and the facial animation via Sony's Mockingbird technology. In the tech demo, Sharwin asks Aloy how she's doing, to which she responds, "Hello, I'm managing all right, just dealing with a sore throat. How have you been?" The voice heard coming from Aloy's mouth is not that of voice of actor Ashley Birch, who famously plays the character in the video games. Rather, it is a robotic voice similar to the kind you get from any of the thousands of text-to-speech voice generators used to narrate social media posts. Also, technically, also for blind users, but we'll give IGN a pass on this one. AI Aloy's facial movements are stiff and her eyes appear lifeless as she converses with Sharwin. When asked how Aloy's search for her mother is going, she replies, I discovered I'm a clone of Dr. Elizabeth Sobek, which led me to understand my purpose and origins. How does it feel to be a clone? Being a clone feels unique, connecting me to the past while allowing me to create my own path and future, Aloy replies. The demo then transitions into the actual Horizon Forbidden West game world, and Sharwin continues the conversation while playing the game. It's slightly jarring to see the player converse with a character they're in control of, and the irony of using Aloy as an AI-powered PlayStation character, given the plot of the Horizon game, is obvious. If you don't know, obviously, basically, it's the tech CEO has basically created clones, blah blah blah, and just it's. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's very very apt or very on the nose as far as really this is you do are you missing the irony in this? The demo is described as a prototype developed with the help of Horizon Studio Guerrilla Games to show off the tech internally and Sony. This is just a glimpse of what is possible, Sharwin says in the video. And while the video shows an investment from Sony in the exploration of AI-powered PlayStation characters, it's worth noting the company has yet to confirm plans to incorporate the tech into any public-facing PlayStation product, and there's no suggestion it would even be possible PlayStation 5 games at this stage. That is something and I'll leave the kind of the rest of the article for to you to be able to read if you want to, but that is kind of where I'm sort of leaning towards. And I think the greater context or the greater insight into this story, honestly, yes. While I have seen the video, and the video is what you would exactly expect. It's very AI answers. It does not look the sort of mouth movements don't look great, or at least not. It's you could tell it's definitely very much AI. And I've only seen basically just the first part of it. I did not see the gameplay while Sharwin was playing with the character. That's the only thing I did not see. But and I know that sort of the instant sort of reactions really, why would PlayStation we're gonna see these in PlayStation 5 games or games going forward? Here's the greater insight and context. Companies like Sony and also Xbox, and I would say even Nintendo, they experiment with technology all the time. It does not mean that automatically means that they're going to put them into games. So yes, while AI is kind of the very controversial topic within game development right now, it does not mean that Sony is going to be integrating this AI as is right now into their games. I'll be willing to bet that's probably not. This, like, research and development, it means that basically they're trying out different things. I mean, this is also something that I get kind of upset about whenever people leak stuff about what's happening at Twitch. And I'm not saying this as like, full disclosure, Twitch ambassador, not saying this to defend Twitch, not an apologist for Twitch in any ways. They screw up as much as any other company does. But when people talk about leaked experiments happening on Twitch, it does not mean that those features are coming to Twitch. Research and development is literally that. It's researching, it's developing to see if it's even viable. That's the whole point of why research and development exists. Sometimes it can actually be able to create something that is actually really cool. And other times it's basically just projects and research projects that basically just, you know, they try it and they think, no, this is not worth it, and they basically just scrap it. And they put it on a shelf until they can wait until better technology comes along to be able to make that to make something like that happen. That happens all the time. We just don't hear about it. We just don't see it because it happens internally. And a lot of this stuff is generally under NDA from either outside contractors, or it's just part of their, you can't say anything but just by being an employee of, let's just say, obviously with this example within Sony. They did not intend for this to leak. They did not intend for this. This video was for internal purposes only. So them sort of showing off what they could do with AI does not mean that we're going to be all of a sudden being able to interact with Kratos tomorrow, or have conversations with Joel and Ellie. Ellie more specifically, probably, considering if you played Last of Us Part 2. But I'm just saying, we're not. This is not ready for prime time yet. People are sort of like looking at this being like, this is absolute garbage. It's meant to look like garbage. It's meant to, like, if you ever try, if anyone armchair game devs would ever actually see a development environment, they would basically cringe at how broken and how just unpolished a lot of this is. I'll even say that this is not even breaking any NDAs. I've seen so many broken builds, or at least builds of games that are so not ready for prime time, where it's just a gray grid of walls and floors, and all you get is basically just a model of a character. I've even seen literally a game where there wasn't even any art pass. It was literally gray. I was literally interacting with gray character models, like with no color, no depth. Like it was just like, and I'm watching cinematics like that. Like it's just, it's a placeholder. It's something that they're trying out. So this whole AI thing is basically, it's just built up on paper clips and string and tape and masking tape, just to see if it'll actually work. So while yes, if you looked at the leaked footage of Aloy, it looks bad. It looks like an AI. They're showcasing, what they're doing in this video is that they're showcasing, this is what we've been able to get to work right now with the technology we have now. It's very, everyone keeps seeing, what baffles me is that we see a lot of trailers that have game development in progress, not final build, blah blah blah, and people sort of still take that as actual gameplay or as actual what the game is going to look like. In reality, no, because the game ain't ready yet. The game ain't ready for prime time yet. Generally, honestly, you'll be surprised at how many games are not ready for prime time yet. Even with a lot of the trailers and gameplay that's already out there, they're still being polished sometimes right up until release. I mean, that's why sometimes they have day one patches. Then they'll be able to fix stuff that basically, because things aren't ready for prime time yet. So you get, basically what I'm really kind of saying is calm down. This does not mean that basically this is AI, this is PlayStation's future with basically AI characters like Joel and Ellie are going to be talking to you, or Kratos is going to be giving you instructions and responding to you to your questions. Because here's the thing as well, also, like, you're not going to have the best conversations with those characters anyway, because you're not the best writers. Gamers are not the best writers at all. So leave it to the professional writers to basically to write dialogue for these characters, instead of just trying to be able to like figure out a way to be able to like to make a character sort of trip up or go joke around with them, that kind of thing. I think this is basically a lot of like, yes, does this mean that like this could, there potential, like, I'm not sort of dismissing this as an actual thing for PlayStation. There very much could be an internal push to kind of keep this going, because even though I said that there's a lot of projects that our R&D does that basically kind of get shelved, sometimes there's also like a pressure from executives to keep that research going and to basically to try to be able to get it to a point where they can be able to actually like make it publicly available. So there could be an internal push to make this actually happen, or it could be basically like executives saying, let's test it, let's try it, let's R&D it, and see if it works. So there's two sides of that coin. Again, not sort of apologizing for PlayStation, not even basically saying like this could potentially be the thing, or this could like basically just there's some smoke here, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a fire. All right, and that's basically where I'm going to leave it. Two controversial topics today: handhelds, well, not necessarily controversial handhelds, but gotta love it. We have to go into the deep topics today. All right, so that is going to be it for today's episode. Just two stories today, but I don't even know how I'm labeling this episode, so we'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and or listening. I will be back again tomorrow with a brand new episode. Make sure to be able to hit subscribe to be able to keep this channel growing, and also hit the like button if you really like this video. Really, really appreciate it. And also, if you want to be able to get this as an audio version, go to any podcast platform, search for Gaming Insight Daily, or just search for Steve Saylor, and you'll be able to find it that way. Thanks so much again. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one. And yeah, just bye-bye. Take care.